Hello there guys, a very warm welcome, and this is a virtual tour on my PC of the Pentagon shopping centre in Chatham. And as you probably know, this is one of the shopping centres that you would find in Kent. And as you probably know, Ben OBVE, with his lift tours, he's been here quite a lot. And if you know Ben OBVE, just click the link below to watch his tour of the lifts at the Pentagon Centre. So anyway, let's move on. Anyway, the first shop we got, an independent shop, DNA Toys. And as you know, DNA Toys is like a cheap toy shop, sells all kinds of toys, like not really interesting. Anyway, you got A-Class Driving School here. There are loads of independents here on the Upper Mall. Oh, far too many independents to go into, and of course we've got jewellers, etc. And anyway, we'll continue with more on that on the Lower Mall, on the Upper Mall later on. Of course, we got Poundland, which is one of the main pound shops in the Pentagon Centre. Of course, you got the Entertainer Toy Shop as well. And basically, I do mall tours in the flesh, but due to the coronavirus lockdown system that's in place at the moment, most of the shops are only open for selling only essential goods only, meaning non-essential shops are shut. Of course, you got the Complete Entertainment Exchange and the British Art Foundation charity shop and Super Cuts here as well. Anyway, and of course you got Subway, which is hospitality, but however it's only offering takeaway. So anyway, here are the lifts here. As you probably know, Benno refers to these as the green lifts in the centre. And of course you got the toilets as well. Of course you got the toilets as well. And of course you got Latinos. And of course you got Sainsbury's, which is one of the main anchors within the centre, as that's an essential business because it's a supermarket selling food. Of course, you've got Anna, which is clothing. Don't know what most of these stores used to be, and Egla, fashion clothing. And here is Wilko, known as Wilkinson's. And Wilkinson's actually has two lifts. There's a Foster and Cross lift that has been modernised to a generic. And of course you've got the blue lift, which is also a generic. The blue lift goes into the car park. It doesn't go. You can only catch the blue lift on the upper level. Of course, you've got the fragrance shop. You've got Game, Timpson's, The Works, Yours, Select Clothing, Claire's, Clinton's, another independents. Far too many independents here in the centre. And so you got Toys For You, and of course you've got Boots, EE, Warren James, New Look, and of course New Look used to be the Co-op department store, and that had an old Pickering's, but it's been replaced with an Ace around the lift. Of course, this is Super Drug, and then here are the red lifts in the centre. Of course, you've got Dykeman, you've got Vodafone, you've got Virgin Media, Card Factory. And of course, coming up here, you've got the Foot Locker, and of course, you've got Dorothy Perkins and Burton. Now, as you know, Dorothy Perkins and Burton have closed their doors due to the coronavirus, and it's highly unlikely that they'll ever reopen again. Got Carphone Warehouse as well. And of course, this here is DW. Which used to be known as JJB Sports, and DW Sports have closed due to the coronavirus, meaning there's no longer a DW Sports within the shopping centre. Well, anywhere now because of the coronavirus. So anyway, there's the main glass scenic list. So anyway, let's go back to the top floor. And there's the heart of the community. And here's a Christian bookshop. Don't know what that unit was years ago. And anyway, there is DW's. And here is Wilco's. Right here. So this is Wilco's on the upper floor. Still got the old Wilkinson's sign. Well, not the original Wilkinson's sign. That was the first of the first replacement logo before it was branded as Wilco. It got Jesse's cuff. Now, a lot of people used to call Wilkinson's Wilco's, and that's why they've given it the name today. Of course, dark times. Don't know, one of them cheap naff shops that you'd find in Chatham. So here we are inside the shop. Absolutely cheap. It's always a cheap shop when you come to Chatham. Of course, you've got Just Fabrics as well. And anyway, this is inside the shop. More cheap naff stuff that you'd find. It's always rough when you go into shops like here in Chatham. I will be giving you a tour of the Chatham High Street as well. And got another cheap naff shop there. An Escape Plan. This used to be the old Arriva travel shop as well. And so anyway, here's the A-Class driving school, and back to the toy shop. This cheap toy shop. I'm not sure if it's a cheap store. I don't know who used to occupy this store years ago. It's looking rather cheap stuff in here. Thing like when you go to Spain, etc., or fancy dress. So anyway, that was the tour of the Pentagon Centre. So anyway, here we are now outside of Chatham. We're now coming towards Chatham High Street. Of course, we've got the Go Outdoors, which used to be known as Tesco. And Ben OBVE adored the Tesco so much with its old lifts. Of course, you've got a lot of independents going down this part of the high street. Of course, it's always a grossy part. Of course, you've got lots of but however, all the shops we've first passed is independent, and the first big name we see is KFC. And there's another British Art Foundation charity shop, PDSA, as well. Of course, this is the old Trafalgar Centre, the old indoor market, which is now shut down. Of course, you've got Savers, Iceland. There are so many different independents within this town centre. Of course, you've got Barclays, Nationwide, the Bank, the cash converters, and pawnbrokers stores. There's always pawnbrokers in the Kent Medway area. Of course, you've got Debenhams, which used to be known as Alders, but sadly Debenhams went into administration, and this one closed during the second wave of their administration. Of course, you've got Burger King and far too many independents. You've got Wimpy's. So anyway, here's the outer footage of Debenhams. It's still in the original Alders condition. Pet Aqua. Oh, there's far too many of these independents. Of course, we've got Ryman, Coral, more charity shops. I need to skip all these charity shops and get to the far end of the high street. Of course, we've got two banks between each other, Santander and HSBC UK, and Coral betting shop, Ryman, and Ryman bought partners out. Of course, we've got TSB. It's really in competition with these three banks being close to each other. Got Specsavers, you've got McDonald's. Oh, gosh, this is actually a virtual tour. Of course, you've got TUI, formerly known as Thompson's, Wisdom Hospice, And here is Primark. Well, let's go back. Here's Primark right here. One of the best known fashion stores these days. Of course, here's the Pentagon Centre in Burton. Right here. And here is Waterstones and Foot Locker. Coffee Republic. And Greggs just right here. Going down to the far end of the high street, and Shoe Zone's big store, and there's Sports Direct coming up, which used to be the original JJB Sports. Got another Poundland here. Oh, far too many of these shops, always in times in Chatham. Jacobs, Monty's and CEX, another branch. Of course, you've got TK Maxx and right opposite. Oh no, just don't like that specific kind of shop. I'm not a big fan. This used to be known as Adam's Kids. As you probably know, it had scaffolding attached to the lighting, and I was not keen on one of those shops, especially when I had a branch like, still got that branch like that in Wolverhampton as well, which is becoming the community hub. This later became an independent shop, so just right above that is Sparkling Girls and Arcole, and this shop should likely get demolished eventually to create new access to the bus station, but however, they just can't afford it. Of course, got the 99p stores just right here. And of course, you've got Bonmarsh right at the end of the high street, of course. Of course, you've got Halifax Bank as well. H. Samuels. Far too many of these independent, far too many different kinds of all different types of shops. Of course, you've got the post office, and here's the other entrance to the Pentagon, and here is the Cooperative Bank. And anyway, here is the new bus station at the Pentagon Centre in Chatham, just by the B&M Bargains. The old bus station used to be by the old Pentagon Centre, which was always grotty, and this bus station is a bit similar to Walsall bus station. So anyway, that was the tour of Chatham High Street and the Pentagon Centre.